Hello, and welcome to this demo reel on game audio design and implementation with FMOD Studio. For the next few minutes, I'll be analyzing the various ways in which all the audio content was recorded, designed, and implemented within the video game Cube 2 Sauerbraten. This work was developed while studying in the School of Video Game Audio, taught by Leonard Paul. I recorded, designed, and implemented a total of 300 sound assets, which were based on different variations of different layers spread throughout a total of 33 audio events in FMOD Studio. The player's character should sound particularly heavy, as his visual aspect suggests. For the footstep events, a low-pass filter was applied to the separate heel and toe layers, so these wouldn't sound unnaturally close to the player's ears. By having their pitch and volume randomized, repetition was avoided, creating instead an always present although unobtrusive sound. A breathing layer gives a sense of anxiety to the player. As this is meant to play occasionally only, it was split into various tiny segments which are randomized and played only once in a while. This is achieved by setting the logic probability parameter at 7%. The game level includes various water paths in which the player has to immerse. For this, the sound of various heavy towels immersing into a full water tub were recorded. A low-pass filter is automated to recreate the changing environment from outside the water to underwater. The player also has a helmet around his head. To simulate the acoustical space inside the helmet, I captured the impulse response from a glass recipient. I then applied this impulse response to voice recordings for the breathing, jumping, landing, pain, and dying events. Various weapon sounds were designed for this game. Here we can see the rifle's reverberation layer, with its pitch automated to recreate a Doppler effect. All weapons have a mix of various samples from available sound libraries, synthesized effects, and recordings of my own from my custom-made sample library, such as a drill sound for the mini gun powering off sound. The shotgun sound is made up by a short burst, a blasting effect, weapon mechanics, a low-end punch, and shells landing on the floor. To avoid repetition, these shells were triggered by two scatterer sound modules, one for the initial hit and another one for the remaining hits. These play various short samples between randomized time intervals. To help with the player's immersion in the game, the shells are also scattered around the player's 3D environment. The only enemy present in the game level is an ogre creature. When confronted with the player, the ogre emits a grunting sound which should scare the player and fill him with anxiety. For this sound event, I started by recording myself grunting at the microphone, to which I then pitch processed and mixed with sounds from other creatures, such as a lion roar. The overall sound was split in 3 different layers, each one contributing with different parts of the frequency spectrum and time components. In FMOD Studio, the 3D panner settings allowed to set a sound size of 13. This way, the creature is audible enough to warn the player about possible danger when still far away. But when it gets really close, its sound size envelops the player, causing the creature to lose spatial information. This creates disorientation to the player, as the direction from which the creature is located gets more difficult to understand. The various items spread throughout the level should give important information to the player about not only their spatial location, but also their content. For this, I went for a mix of synthesized and original recordings. As it was important for each one to have its own iconic and recognizable sound, I composited a single layer for each one with few variations, yet with a bit of pitch and volume randomization to avoid annoying repetition when triggered in a quick row. The game level has a few voiceover alerts which are triggered when certain events happen.
Health boost in 10 seconds.
After being recorded and heavily processed, these were imported to FMOD Studio. As they are meant to be played as non-diegetic sound, the spatialization settings were turned off, avoiding them being played from a specific point in the 3D environment.
Quad damage in 10 seconds.
Finally, all audio content was mixed in FMOD Studio. The application allows for real-time mixing via its game connection capabilities and its interface reminiscent of traditional digital audio workstations. By regularly checking the profiler window, I also made sure no audio was being clipped or distorted during more complex-sounding environments, and that the overall mix was neither too static or too dynamic for weaker playback systems, or more challenging listening environments. I hope you enjoyed this demo reel. Thank you for watching.